sing.
This was our career bust, which is what, $100 million?
This had to have been an inside job.
Everything went according to plan. But there was one thing they didn't plan on.
Let's do this right. No gunshots, no dead bodies.
Well, you know, if I recall correctly, the last couple dead bad guys belong to you.
Please, you ain't even trying to compare body counts. Should I keep going all day? I'm out.
Detectives Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett.
Don't be alarmed, we're Negroes.
Oh, man, that's too much bass in your voice. That scare white folk. You gotta sound like them. We were wondering if we can borrow a cup of brown sugar.
On the Miami Police Force.
I'll be back.
Something wrong with you.
They don't follow the rules.
You ain't with the bad guys now. You with the cops.
They make them.
What's up?
Quietly.
You forgot your boarding pass.
Oh, shit.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys. You know, you drive almost slow enough to drive Miss Daisy.
I mean, when you really think about it, this was a game changer for buddy cop action movies. I mean, just like how 48 Hours, 13 years prior, broke the mold, and then Lethal Weapon upped the game for big time 5 years after that movie came out. 8 years later, you have this movie, and just from the style, the casting, the way it was presented, the direction, just everything about this movie was just such a groundbreaker for the buddy cop genre. It wasn't a typical buddy cop movie. It was a different type of buddy cop movie. It was an action-heavy movie with elements of comedy in there, and I mean, two big rising stars at the time. Martin Lawrence coming into like the third year of his show on Fox, and then Will Smith coming towards the end of his run on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, the perfect movie for both of them to jumpstart their careers. This was the movie, of course, that did jumpstart their careers as film actors. And, of course, Michael Bay, who had long been a music video director and even a commercial director. Like, I bet a lot of people don't know that he directed the very first Got Milk commercial in 1993. That's something that is still very interesting, considering what he's done in the 30 years since then. But this was the movie that launched him as the big action director, and it's definitely his style, and it's a reason why the movie works so well. I mean, visually, stylistically, it's a well-made film on so many levels. Just the pairing of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith together, and the way they're able to improvise a lot of the lines that have a lot of chemistry together, it just works so well. It's hard to believe that this movie almost was entirely different altogether. Like, when this movie was originally written up, the producers, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, actually envisioned Dana Carvey and John Lovitz in these roles, and it was a much different movie. It would have been something similar, like the mediocre buddy cop movies we got a lot of in the night. Is between 48 Hours and this, like something of the example, like Gene Hackman and Dan Aykroyd in Loose Cannons is one of the most notorious examples of that. But yeah, this was a much different movie, and you know, the film was written for them, and then Arsenio Hall was going to be in it at one point, and he said that it was the worst mistake he ever made. But let's be honest, this probably was a good call for him not to do this movie. But yeah, just the fact that this movie that exists as it is almost was a movie with Dana Carvey and John Lovitz, and this whole movie could have been a whole lot different. It's just hilarious to me that this movie ended up becoming what it eventually did, because, man, the way it started off was going to be just like, whew. We'd be looking at this movie a whole lot different if it ended up being what it was originally envisioned as. But luckily that was not the case, and the fact that Michael Bay said to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, hey, improvise some of these scenes, make these scenes a whole lot better, and you know what? A lot of the times it did work. It gave the movie its own unique look. It gave the movie its unique style in terms of writing and vision, and it was just a ton of fun. It's a great great movie on so many levels. Like, it's a movie that just works on so many levels, and it works because of the fact that these two guys really do work off each other very well, and like, it's a very solid film. I don't know how much more I can say about it, but it's just a very solid film. It's not a groundbreaking movie. What am I even saying? It's, in a way, it is kind of a groundbreaking movie. There are flaws to it, but not a lot of them. But it's just a movie that really changed the way we looked at action buddy cop movies from this point going forward. I mean, this was definitely a game changer for how you do these type of films. And it just proves that you need great chemistry between two really good actors and a good director to really make this work. And the results here speak for themselves. I mean, this is a great film on so many levels. And in fact, overall, the Bad Boys movies as a whole have been great films. But like Bad Boys 2 is so bad but good in a number of ways. But there are so many memorable moments from that particular film. And then we just had Bad Boys for Life, which really, honestly, I was surprised at how much that movie actually was almost as good, if not better, than this movie was. And this was a great film regardless, but Bad Boys for Life really changed the way that movie changed the way my thinking was with the way that movie started off as and what it eventually became. And eventually we'll get to those movies later on, but yeah, what more can I say about this? Bad Boys, man. Bad friggin' Boys. Classic film. So that was one of the big new releases that came out this weekend. The next one that came out this weekend is also a notable classic in its own right, and that is Disney's A Goofy Movie.
Going somewhere, Pop?
Sure are. It's a vacation with me and my best buddy.
Donald Duck?
Oh, silly.
With you.
It's Goofy.
Give me a big...
Stop goofing around.
In an outrageous full-length animated feature,
We'll spend some real quality time together. I think I'm gonna be sick.
Walt Disney Pictures presents
Come on, this is gonna be fun.
the story of a father who couldn't be closer
That's the spirit, Max. Hey, this is embarrassing.
to driving his son crazy.
This is pathetic.
Now, they're getting a crash course in becoming best friends.
It's Bigfoot.
Could you back up a bit, Mr. Foot? You're out of focus.
This spring, one of Disney's favorite classic characters lands at theaters. In the most hilarious
It's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
and hippest animated musical comedy ever.
A little smoke.
A Goofy Movie.
Morning, son. Dad.
It's hard to be cool when your dad is goofy.
You look just like I did at your age.
Please don't say that, Dad.
I mean, this is one of those movies where you really didn't know how much of a legacy this movie was going to have early on. Like, when this movie came out, it did pretty well box office-wise, and it actually was a decent hit critically. A lot of people really enjoyed it. When I remember watching it as a kid, being like, this is a pretty good movie overall. Like, it's a really solid film. Like, I grew up with the original Goof Troop TV series. Like, I used to watch that on the Disney Afternoon. I watched all the Disney Afternoon shows, but I mean, Goof Troop was one of those ones that stood out to me the most, and I honestly didn't think at first that this was actually a film that follows the Goof Troop timeline. I thought this was a movie that took place from a different storyline that's outside of Goof Troop. But no, this actually takes place a couple of years after the Goof Troop TV series ended, and that was part of the reason why I started to really appreciate it more, because in a way it does serve as a serviceable conclusion to the series, but also shows that Disney was still able to make movies based off of their Disney Afternoon shows. Because I remember when DuckTales the movie was coming out, they were starting plans to make a new Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers movie, which we eventually did get, but a totally different film. This was going to be a straight up 2D animated film, but because DuckTales didn't do so well, the box office, it never really went anywhere. And I didn't think this one was we'd ever see something like that again with DuckTales, but here you go with this movie. But as a kid, I really enjoyed it, but really as time has gone on, and I've seen that everybody has really come to realize that this movie is much, much better than anyone could have ever imagined. Like, this movie has gone to one of those critical reevaluations over the years, not just with critics, but also with the adults and audiences that grew up with this movie as a kid. is myself included, realizing that this film is actually a lot more relatable than I think anybody really gave him credit for, because this is a film that you look at from a kid's perspective, it's a fun, goofy adventure, but as an adult, you start to realize that I remember, you remember these type of situations. I never really had the situations like this with my parents or anyone like that, but I could definitely see why people consider this to be kind of a perfect father-son movie. And sure enough, because of that, this movie has gained a ton of resurgence over the years. You would almost swear it's one of the Disney animated classics, somewhere on the same levels as something like The Lion King or Aladdin or all these other great Disney movies. And many would probably agree that this is the best Disney animated film. Actually, no, that's not true at all, because this was actually better than... let me say this. It's better than Pocahontas, but I was about to say it was the best Disney animated film to come out in 95, but... Toy Story, so I forgot about that one. But yeah, and not only that, like, the fact that the show Atlanta was able to do an entire episode where they made up this idea that that a Goofy movie is seen as one of the great hood classics of all time, and they did this entire faux documentary about how that is, like, that's one of the most brilliant episodes of Atlanta I've ever seen. And Atlanta's a great show, but that's one of their best episodes. If you haven't seen that one, definitely check it out. Let me see if I can get the name for that episode for you. The Goof Who Sat by the Door is the name of it. It's the 8th episode of the show, of Atlanta's 4th season. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And like a lot of the movies that we've seen recently have had a lot of influence because of this film. Like Licorice Pizza took a lot of inspiration from it. One of the stars, Alana Hamm, says it's her favorite movie of all time. And like Pixar director Domi Shi, when she made Turning Red, she was inspired by that movie. So the fact that this movie has had such a huge legacy behind it, and it's amazing to see that, and the movie itself is much better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. I mean, not only is it a great Goofy movie, but yeah, it's a very relatable film for a lot of fathers and sons. And the soundtrack for this movie is absolutely amazing. Like, you have a great score by Carter Burwell, who's gone on to become a great songwriter. The late Shirley Walker worked on this movie. The songs in this movie are just so memorable. Like, once you hear the songs like After Today and Stand Out and all these other songs here, they won't get out of your head for a long, long time. I mean, this is amazing. This is an amazing film that has really grown over time. It's just such a fun movie that just really, it relates to a lot of people. It's just a film that just works on so many levels. I mean, it's a classic film. From an animation-wise, it's great. Story-wise, it's great. Comedy-wise, it's great. It's just working on so many levels. It's a very good... I could see definitely why this is considered by many as a major cult classic. Maybe the greatest cult classic Disney has ever had. I mean, I would say even more than something like Nightmare Before Christmas or James and the Giant Peach. I mean, it's kind of like that in a way. I feel like this movie could have more popularity than those movies did. And, yeah, it's just an amazing, amazing film. Like, just... I can't recommend this movie enough. I mean, if you haven't seen a Goofy movie yet, you definitely need to see that movie, because it's a ton of fun on so many levels. You'll love it for the fact that it's a goofy adventure. You'll love it for, even if you're not a big fan of Goof Troop, you'll just find a lot to really admire about it. It's just such a great, great film. I can't recommend it enough. A Goofy movie, need I say more about it, so... anyway, with that said, let's move on to the next movie, and that is Marlon Brando and Johnny Depp starring in Don Juan DeMarco.
It became evident from a very early age that there was something different about me. By the time I was 10, the attraction that females had for me was becoming of some concern to my mother. At the age of 21, I have fulfilled fantasies of men 3 times my age. My name is Don Juan DeMarco. I am the world's greatest lover. What's the costume?
He's Don Juan.
This kid is severely delusional and believes he's Don Juan.
Who wants him? Don Juan.
Here's my proposal. 10 days, I will have told you everything you wish to know.
What if I don't believe you, Don Juan?
And you may commit me for as long as you like.
Don Juan is having a distracting influence on the female staff. In his hacienda, there are more nurses on Valium than patients.
There are only 4 questions of value in life, Donald. What is sacred? Of what is the spirit made? What is worth living for? And what is worth dying? The answer to each is the same. Only love. is that?
Mexico.
Have you never met a woman who inspires you to love until your every sense is filled with her?
I've been feeding this kid since he's Don Juan.
So who is he really?
I don't know. He's to me.
But who are you saving? Him or you? Jack, what's going on?
I've come to realize that after 32 years of marriage, I'm in love with my wife.
You are my angel. And this earth is our paradise. Muchas gracias, señorita.
No. Thank you. Thank you.
I am the world's greatest love.
Rated PG-13, so you're not gonna get a whole lot of sex scenes if you're a guy who's been dragged to this movie with your girlfriend, and you're expecting that. You're not gonna get that in this movie. But Don Juan DeMarco, it's a film, of course, with Johnny Depp as this Casanova who dresses like Zorro, and he very much has this thing where he claims to be Don Juan, and you have Marlon Brando playing the psychiatrist at a mental institution. And this movie had a lot of things about it that could have easily killed it, but I saw it and I was just kind of like, well, this isn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I wouldn't say it's a classic by any means necessary. I think the fact that it's a lot better than this trailer gives it credit for, because the trailer here did not look very pleasing, honestly, when I first looked at this. But going into the movie, I would say that it's not the worst thing ever. Like, I think Johnny Depp has a lot of charisma. He makes this role work. You know, Marlon Brando, I think, is just kind of coasting, but it's a coasting where it's just kind of like, he does at least have some investment into this. Like, he's not just slouching around in this one. Because I've seen movies where he's definitely slouching around for a paycheck and not really doing a whole lot. When do we get to the Island of Dr. Moreau for that one? But, like, he's not doing a whole lot here, but he does just enough to say, you know what, I'll give you credit for that. You actually were trying here. But I think overall the movie is just okay. It's definitely a chick flick. Like, there's no denying it whatsoever. It is very much a chick flick movie. But the only other thing I can really say about it is that it has a pretty badass Bryan Adams song. Like, Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman? It's no Everything I Do It For You. But I mean, it's a song that once in a while it'll start coming in my head every once in a while. Tell me, have you ever really ever loved a woman? Sorry for the bad singing there, but you get kind of the idea here. It's actually a pretty decent song. A couple of songs here by Selena too, like that were actually pretty good as well. Good score by Michael Kamen. Overall, yeah, it's a pretty solid film overall, but it's one that's just kind of like, I liked it, but it's not one I'd want to watch over and over again. Like, it is the definition of a chick flick, and not a bad one either. So at least there's that. So with that said, let us move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Liam Neeson and Jessica Lange starring in Rob Roy.
For him, you have slept your last peaceful night, McGregor. She would give her soul.
There are things I have to tell you.
For her,
We will have him soon enough.
he would give his life.
I will think of you dead until my husband makes you so.
United Artists Pictures presents Liam Neeson and 1994 Academy Award winner Jessica Lange. Rob Roy commences April 13. Check newspapers.
Never mind the fact that Jessica Lange actually has won 2 Academy Awards. They just got to highlight the fact that she's the 1994 Academy Award winner. But then again, this came out on April 7th. This was back when the Oscars were usually in late March, early April, so that's probably why they did it. But why not just say she's a 2-time Academy Award winner, because that's exactly who she is. But yeah, as far as the movie itself goes, this is actually a pretty good movie. This is directed by Michael Caton Jones, who also did such films that we talked about, including Doc Hollywood, Memphis Belle, This Boy's Life, Scandal. It's done a couple of decent movies, and Liam Neeson also in here as well. It's a good historical drama, and Tim Roth gives a really good performance in this. It got him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. John Hurt, Eric Stoltz, Brian Cox, Jason Fleming. A pretty solid cast, so pretty good action overall. A surprisingly effective movie, honestly. Like, it doesn't fall into the typical generic historic epic movies, like the movies that are trying to be kind of generic in a way, that think they're epic, but they're not really not. But it's mostly working because the characters are so well casted. The performances overall are terrific. It's amazing. Like, the sword fight in the end of this movie is so well done. This is 1995, and they can still do sword fights that are still very climactic, very epic. And this is probably one of the best sequences of that type I've seen in a modern film in a long, long time. I mean, it's a brilliant film. It's a very well-made film. A movie that kind of takes you by surprise because of the fact that it sells itself as an epic movie, and most of these epic movies that try to be epic movies don't usually turn out all that well, and especially in modern times. But this works pretty well on its own to make it worth watching. I really recommend this movie, Rob Roy. Definitely check it out.
Since the days of our founding fathers, justice has always been blind. Now,
Fear not, citizens!
she's dumb.
Justice will be served! You're in good hands! Ow! Ow!
Because Pauly Shore has just been served
A jury duty notice? Look! It's the juice! Run, OJ! Run!
now. A nation waits for answers.
They picked a jury! They picked a jury! They're serving tuna salad for lunch! Tuna salad for lunch!
A jury sacrifices all personal comforts
Welcome to your new home, away from home.
Lifestyles of the rich and sequestered.
and the murder suspect puts his life in the hands of the people,
So what do you think?
About what? You're sleeping or you're drooling?
up against impossible odds.
You are the sexiest creature I've ever seen. Let's sauna.
One man stands alone
And that is why you elected me, jury foreman.
to protect our honor.
Counsel will approach the bench. What are you doing here?
I didn't think it was fair that you guys got to have your own little secret powwow over here while we didn't get to listen. It's not fair.
To defend our freedom,
Number 6, sit down!
and most of all,
To play.
to milk the system for everything it's worth.
That's the peanut call.
Pauly Shore is out for justice. Jury duty.
Your girlfriend's here to kiss you goodbye.
Say hi to Judgito.
I mean, really, do I need to say anything more about this movie? I mean, just from that trailer alone, you can see everything that's wrong with this movie. This is not a funny movie. This is a film that has been universally panned both by critics and audiences. It was a notorious box office bomb. And you can see why on screen, because it's a one-joke premise, and not even a good one-joke premise. It's basically Pauly Shore. He gets to be a juror, and he's doing whatever it takes to keep the free accommodations, keep this case going. And first of all, nobody is ever that excited for jury duty. I don't care who you are. Like, nobody is that excited for jury duty. And I'm sorry, and everybody knows that, but not the idiots who made this movie. And yeah, I really don't have any more to say about this one, because really, what more can I say about this movie? This is the lowest of the low for comedy. I mean, it's Pauly Shore just hamming it up for the camera for an hour and a half. And I mean, he makes movies like Billy Madison and Tommy Boy look like classics by comparison, look like Citizen Kane by comparison. I'll never forget when Siskel and Ebert reviewed this movie. They didn't like Tommy Boy, they didn't like Billy Madison, but even Gene Siskel said, I would rather watch it from dusk to dawn, Chris Farley Film Festival, than watch this movie again. I mean, that's probably the best way to describe this movie. It's just a mess of a film. It's a one-joke premise. It doesn't have a charismatic actor leading the charge. It's Pauly Shore. The rest of the people in this movie should be ashamed of themselves for saying yes to this. I mean, Tia Carrere from Wayne's World, Stanley Tucci's in this movie, Brian Doyle Murray, Shelley Winters, Ava Goda. Like, they deserve much better than this. Like, this is the bottom of the barrel for comedy in general. This is just not a good movie at all. And like I said, I don't really think I need to delve more into this because the evidence there speaks for itself. Like, you really just need to watch that trailer to see that, hey, this is a terrible movie. I shouldn't see it. And it's my dumbass as a kid saw the movie, and I still regret it ever since. So that's a nice way to start this week off with a terrible movie like that. Let's turn it around a little bit. Let's get to a couple of movies that were seen as box office failures, but they are actually a lot better than I think people would give them credit for. And we'll start off with the Don Bluth-directed film, The Pebble and the Penguin.
Deep in a frozen country, at the far end of the earth, there's an ancient ceremony where a penguin must find the perfect pebble to give to his future bride. And boy, did Hubie find a pebble.
Rena, is that an engagement pebble or what?
Hubie, I love it.
But Hubie's rival Drake has other plans.
Nobody's going to marry a loser like you. Now give me that pebble.
No, it's for Marina.
Now, fate has taken him to the other side of the world.
I got just 10 days to get back home before the full moon ceremony.
But with the help of a new friend.
Who's for busting out of here?
Take me with you!
They'll travel night and day.
Yeah, I give it 2 days tops, and you'll be in the belly of anything from a killer whale to a sardine.
I'm a good swimmer.
You've got "eat me" written all over you.
To try to get back to his true love.
I'm destined to marry Marina.
I'm destined to marry Marina.
Yep.
And they'll form a friendship.
I think you're fabulous.
You have to gush like that?
That will last forever.
Look how we get along together.
You are incredibly annoying.
MGM Pictures invites you to
Yes.
feel the magic.
This is it.
Everybody knows penguins can't fly.
This is a chance of a lifetime. The flying, yes.
Share the adventure. And come along on an incredible journey.
Here we go.
The Pebble and the Penguin.
You're either the greatest romantic hero of all time, or you're the stupidest penguin who ever lived.
With the voices of Martin Short,
Goodness glaciers.
Jim Belushi,
I'm flying.
Tim Curry,
Wake up and smell the seaweed.
and the music of Barry Manilow. The Pebble and the Penguin.
So let me just say right off the bat, this is not one of Don Bluth's strongest movies by any means necessary, but compared to what he's done in the early 90s, Rock-a-Doodle, ambitious film, but mostly a failed attempt to try to mix live action and animation, trying to be another Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but failing miserably. Thumbelina was just a straight-up Disney ripoff, right down to having the characters, notable voice actors from Disney involved in it, and the less I say about Troll in Central Park, the better, because that is the lowest of the low for him. But with this movie, at least, it's a noticeable improvement in terms of the way the story is told. It's more simplified. It's not all over the place. It's not a great story overall, but it at least makes much more sense than the early 90s movies that we've seen from Don Bluth. I mean, you got a pretty good voice cast here. Martin Short is easy to buy as Hubie. Annie Golden, she was Cliff's girlfriend on Cheers. She's pretty good as Marina. Jim Belushi's easy to buy as Rocco. Tim Curry is the bad guy. I mean, where can you go wrong there? They used the voice cast here much better than Bluth's other two movies that he did. And the music overall, I think, is a lot better. This is Barry Manilow again writing the music, but unlike Thumbelina, where it seemed like he was kind of sleepwalking through that movie, you could definitely tell that the songs in this movie were he had more of an intention of making better songs out of them. Like the opening number, for example, the song Now and Forever, it's an extravagant and impressive musical number with some great animation to go along with it. The idea of the songbook coming to life as you see the characters from the movie, like, it's pretty well done. A lot of the other songs in the movie are pretty solid too. There are songs in here that are kind of forced and bland, but for the most part, I thought there is much more improvement and much more going into this particular film than I thought Bluth had in the other two movies. probably one of the biggest problems with the movie is that the character seems to be too smart for their own good. Like, Marina clearly has it for Hubie in the beginning of the movie, but he's too shy to even admit it or talk to her until he gets that pebble. And of course, when Drake tries to continuously forces her to marry him, the guy can't take a hint that she doesn't love him. But the literal line from the movie, from the bad guy, is she keeps telling him no, and he keeps going, "Oh, I get it, you're joking." And it's like, there's nothing groundbreaking about these characters whatsoever. They're cliched characters, but like I said, I've seen a whole lot worse. But to the movie's credit, like I said, the animation is very good. You know, certainly a lot better than some of the direct-to-video animated films that MGM was doing after this. Like, wait until we get to All Dogs Go to Heaven 2. I mean, that movie looks abysmal for a theatrical release. But when we get to 1996, we will definitely delve into that one. But like I said, overall, Pebble and the Penguin, it doesn't live up to that same caliber of the great Bluth movies of the past. Like, it's no Secret of NIMH, it's no Land Before Time, it's no An American Tale, or even An All Dogs Go to Heaven, but it's still better than what he was doing for much of this decade in the 90s. I mean, the animation is much better. The characters are cliche, but they're still rather likable. It's a simplified story, which is okay in this case. The music is nicely done. It is a mostly harmless and enjoyable film. If you like movies like Happy Feet or March of the Penguins, which I do, like, I like those type. I like that trend that we had in the mid 2000s where they had all these different Penguin movies coming out. Most of them ended up being pretty good, but yeah, I think if you like those type of movies, you can definitely get invested in this. There's a lot here to enjoy about it here. It's not going to be any animated classic or anything like that, but I think it's a much better movie than people give it credit for. I would highly recommend checking it out if you want to see a good Don Bluth movie from the early 90s, or that lull he was in between All Dogs Go to Heaven and Anastasia. This is easily the best film of that bunch. So that's Pebble and the Penguin. Let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Al Franken starring in Stewart Saves His Family.
I'm going to do a terrific show today because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Hello, I'm Stuart Smalley. Ever since I was a kid, go, go, go! I knew there was something wrong with my family. My father grew up in the Great Depression. His mother. So he wasn't very supportive.
Is Sir Eagle-Eye getting a little nervous?
And my mother was much better at cooking than nurturing.
What was your name again?
Waste of space.
Which is probably why I became kind of a guru of the self-help movement.
Darn you, Mom!
Darn you, Mom!
I suppose I'm such a success because my childhood was such a challenge.
I remember you when you were this high and this wide.
As for my family,
We all want to go home and save our families, but we can't.
well, they haven't changed much.
Shut him! Shut him!
Okay, Jody, look, I would never ordinarily say this, but, is there any way you can get to a pound cake?
Stewart saves his family.
All right!
You laugh because it's not your family.
Is everyone crazy?
You'll cry because it is.
Well, that's the Smalley family. We're, dysfunctional. But who isn't?
So this is, of course, the feature film debut for the SNL character Stuart Smalley. He'd been on SNL a number of times in the 90s, and I think part of the 80s, the late 80s as well, because Al Franken had been there for so long at SNL. And this movie had sort of a similar release pattern to It's Pat the movie the year before, which the studio basically dumped it. There was not a whole lot of promotion for it. It didn't open in a number of theaters. It came and went. It only made like $1 million at the box office, but cost $6 million to make, so it was a notorious failure. And it's a shame because unlike It's Pat the movie, this is actually a really good little gem. Like, it's a smart, very funny, nicely made movie, and it works mostly because of Al Franken. He does a great job of bringing this character to the big screen without making the character completely annoying as hell like It's Pat managed to do. Like, the stick with It's Pat got old really quickly, but Franken keeps the character in his own environment. He doesn't make him an annoyance. He makes him very relatable to the situations going on, and it works mostly because it's sort of semi-autobiographical, because Franken himself went through a 12-step program like Stuart Smalley does here. And you've got a great cast overall filling the parts that they have very well. Like, Franken is great. You got Shirley Knight, Leslie Boone, Vincent D'Onofrio, Laura San Giacomo, Harris Yulin, Julia Sweeney, Joe Flaherty, Robin Duke, Richard Riel, Kurt Fuller. Just a phenomenal cast here, and they work really well here. And it's one of the few SNL movies I think gets unfairly judged. Would I go as far as to say it's one of the best films, like up there with Blues Brothers or Wayne's World? No, but it's definitely, in terms of the middle-range SNL movies, probably the best of the bunch. It's very clear that clever in how Franken is able to keep this character's own world by creating this nice little universe for him to live in. Harold Ramis does a very good job directing this movie, and the film pretty much has a good message about families and doesn't sugarcoat the ending at all. It's one that, it reminded me a lot of a mix between A Christmas Story, like the way the narration by Gene Shepard plays out, and a mix of another movie in '95 that was also very underrated, Home for the Holidays. It's like a kind of a meshing between those films, and it's a really good film. I think this is one that definitely people should give another look at, because it's really one of the more underrated comedies from not just Harold Ramis, but from these SNL movies, because it's really funny, it's really smart, it's a nicely made film. You might be surprised on how good this actually is. I would highly recommend checking out Stewart Saves His Family. I think you will not be disappointed by it at all.
I'm not working this weekend, Jerry.
Lucy!
Every day I go and I sit in a booth like a beetle. I work every holiday. I go home to a cat.
For Lucy, loneliness was a way of life.
Joe Jr.'s still single.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
But the moment she saw Peter, she became a believer in love at first sight.
He was perfect.
Then fate stepped in.
Mister! There's a train moving! God, you smell good.
Now she's part of his life.
He's in a coma.
Oh, I was gonna marry him.
Who's she?
She's his fiance. No. Peter's engaged.
She saved his life.
Part of his family.
Hey, sis, where's my, Lucy's going to marry my brother Peter. What? I didn't mean for this to happen. I don't know what to do.
Don't tell them a thing. Since they met you, they figure they have Peter back. They need you, Lucy. Just like you need that.
Come on, everybody.
And the grandmother, she's got this heart thing.
She had 3 attacks already.
Now you tell them now, and you might as well shoot Grandma.
That's right. You haven't met Jack yet.
Welcome to the family.
Oh, thank you.
It's funny, my brother never mentioned you. Which one of the 3 Stooges was Peter's favorite?
Curly.
Curly! Ha! He's everybody's favorite. Fact is, you're not really Peter's type.
All right, whose type am I?
I like blondes.
You like brunettes.
What can I say, Peter? I was never envious of anything that you had until now. Well,
you have to tell me what to do. I like Jack.
pull the plug.
You're sick.
I'm sick. You're cheating on a vegetable.
Caravan Pictures presents Sandra Bullock.
These are your husband's things.
Not my husband!
Your fiancé.
Bill Pullman.
She drives you so crazy, you don't know whether to hug her or just arm wrestle her.
Peter Gallagher.
He's awake.
Your family's here, Peter.
In a film about love at second sight.
Who are you?
While you were sleeping.
Shouldn't have left the booth.
Oh, shouldn't have left the booth.
Shouldn't have left the booth.
So While You Were Sleeping was basically the testing grounds to see if Sandra Bullock could be a leading actress, following her success in Speed the previous year, and considering that this was both a critical and a financial success, I guess it worked out pretty well, and that's how it slowly but surely evolved Sandra Bullock into the Sandra Bullock that we know and love her as today. And she really does make this movie work. So the movie overall is very good. It's very formulaic, it's very cliche-filled for a typical romantic comedy, but it's a nicely done romantic comedy. It's one of those ones where you can let the flaws of it being very formulaic, not really all that too unpredictable, you can let that slide here because everybody in here is making it work so well. Like, I like this concept that Bullock basically falls in love with this original guy that she was going to try to marry, even though the guy never even knew he even existed. And then throughout the course of the movie, she ends up falling in love with her brother. And Bill Pullman, I never really thought he could play these type of romantic comedy roles, but her and Bullock's chemistry really does work very well here. They both work off each other very well. The cast overall is great here. Like I said, you got Bullock, Pullman, Gallagher, Peter Boyle's also in here, Jack Warden. Just a nice little cast here, and the movie does play it very simplistically. It doesn't throw any big curveballs at you, or doesn't fall into. It falls into very much of the same romantic comedy cliches we're kind of used to by this point, but the way the film plays it plays it out well enough that you can let that aside and actually enjoy the film for what it is. It is a nice little film, and John Turteltaub directed this movie, who also did Cool Runnings, and slowly but surely we're starting to grow his craft as a director. This is the guy that started off in the spotlight with Three Ninjas, and then he went on to do Cool Runnings, and then this movie, and then it follows with Phenomenon, and his career just kind of kept growing and growing after that point. It's a nice little film. It's a nicely made romantic comedy that doesn't really... It's not a groundbreaking film. It doesn't do anything entirely new or different, but it works because the actors are so committed to this. The writers are committed to this. It's a well-made film. A lot of good funny moments here. Good romantic comedy all around. Good chemistry all around. It's a nice film. I can't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out if you can, while you were sleeping. So, with that said, let us move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Kiss of Death.
Come on, baby. Give me a kiss.
Oh, I'll give you a kiss, all right. A kiss of death!
Okay. I know I have to throw in my little bi-monthly reference to The Critic, but, come on, you have to admit that I had to do it for this particular thing. But in all honesty, here is the real Kiss of Death with David Caruso, Samuel L. Jackson, and Nicolas Cage.
Jimmy, I'm dead, mate. I know you don't want to be involved with it. I don't know what else to do, all right? I'm your blood cousin, Jimmy. I'm your blood cousin. Please don't let this happen.
You want a little air on this? Give me some names. There's no way on God's green earth that you can tell me that you did not know the guy who got you into this mess. I've got no reason to lie. Everybody's got a reason to lie.
Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Whatever don't kill you makes you... I like that.
Did you ever hear about Little Junior Brown? It looks like Little Junior's moving up in the world.
Cars, drugs, guns. He's buying everything he can get his hands on.
Big Junior. That's one of those expressions like jumbo shrimp.
Oh my, the cars. Yeah, I take them all, except that Explorer.
What's the matter with the Explorer?
It's Rick. Where's my bad luck, color? I ain't got nothing to do with Rick.
Are you a man of honor?
Sure. 24.
If I serve him up, jeez, what you been eating? Would you say to me now, you will cut me loose for all time?
Absolutely. Do you want my hand on it or something?
If you take that wow for one more time, I'm personally gonna beat you to death. Maybe the next time you lay a hand on me, it won't be such a one-way beating.
Ronnie, I want you to listen to this. An oldie but goodie. The time's come for everyone to clean up their own backyard. Hey, the bass is too heavy now.
This mother smells scared, Jim.
Hey, do nothing, you got something to say.
I will do whatever I have to do to protect me and mine. Don't push, all right? It's been a hard week. All I want now is what I had in my life before you and them. Now is not the time, my man, but I'm gonna see you real soon. See me now.
Tomorrow, just come by the bar. We should have a conversation about life and stuff.
You know, honestly, I would have said that the Critic reference to Kiss of Death, which is a much different film than this, probably would have made more sense than this movie. But no, actually, this one, I was actually kind of surprised on how much I enjoyed this one. This one didn't get the proper respect it did at the box office. It was kind of like a mixed reaction from most people. Like, it wasn't a big hit, but it wasn't a big flop either. Neither was it critically. But most people kind of forgot about it. It kind of came and went despite the presence of people like Babette Schroeder, who had done Single White Female, Reversal of Fortune, and Richard Price, who would later go on to write Casino that year. And it's actually kind of a pretty good movie. It's a nice neo-noir crime thriller film. And for David Caruso, who had a pretty rocky 1995, he left NYPD Blue for a movie career, and this was one of the movies that he starred in, and then, of course, he followed it up with the infamous Jade, which we'll get to when we get to October. It kind of killed his career for a little bit, and then he kind of resurfaced later on in the 2000s with CSI Miami for memeable purposes, but still was a better success than what this ended up being. But like I said, the movie isn't terrible, far from it. In fact, I think the movie overall works for the most part. It does fall into kind of predictable territory. This is actually a remake to a 1947 film noir film of the same name, Kiss of Death. And I've never seen that movie, so I can't really compare these two, but it is pretty good what they do here. It's a visually pleasing looking film. You do like these characters a lot, including Nicolas Cage, who I think really is the breakout star of this movie. He had a big year in 95 too, because he did this, and then he followed it up with Leaving Las Vegas, which eventually won him the Academy Award. We'll get to that one eventually when we get further into the year. But you also have Sam Jackson, Helen Hunt, Ving Rhames, Stanley Tucci, Michael Rappaport. Just a great cast here, and a really compelling story, and some great visuals to go with it. This is a very good-looking film. Is it a great film? Not really. There are some flaws in here, a lot of notable flaws in here, but overall I thought the movie was surprisingly enjoyable. I really went into this with kind of lowered expectations, but the film actually ended up not being as bad as I thought it was. I'm glad I saw it the one time. Probably wouldn't watch it again on a second viewing, but I thought it was alright for what it is. I'd say definitely check it out if you go into it with the right mindset. So, with that said, let us move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is New Jersey Drive.
I got hooked up tonight, son. Tonight. Yo, you my man or what?
Me and Midget, we were restless, just burning to catch up on something.
Yo! Why don't you come take a ride with me?
I ain't getting in no stolen car, doing
That
no
ain't
donuts
no
somewhere that
stolen
we
car,
are.
nah.
So what we did was take rides.
What's up, baby? What up, kid?
Even if it was a BMW, a Camry, if it was a Lexus, Benz, it was all good. We just wanted to drive, man.
This is not a brag. You understand what I'm telling you? This is my groove. Why don't you get a job and be all you can be? My man was like, blood out. Shit funny to you, right? I ain't laughing.
Some crap friends, man. But Midget was always taking it to the limit.
There it is right there, kid. Oh, no. Get on the speaker, Derek.
All right, pal, pull it over. You got me hold it down. You driver, step away from the car, please. Okay, you have the right to be stupid ass.
And it seemed like I was always the one paying the price.
My name's Lieutenant Roscoe. How are you?
Fine.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Are you Jason Petty's mom?
Yeah. You know what they're gonna do to you? They're gonna lock your ass up and throw away the kid.
What's going on, man?
Oh, you see that right there? Don't take it.
Look good on video, you know that kid?
Oh, yeah, I need your shirt.
So you was just gonna leave me out there?
I did what I had to do. I got bills to pay.
No matter what, he couldn't get satisfied. He just had to keep going right to the edge.
What's up? You want some of this? Want some of what?
And you gotta watch out for the one who thinks he ain't got nothing to live for. It was all fun and games, you know what I'm saying? It was all good.
You're going away, you hear me? Away!
But ain't no more games to play.
You gotta say goodbye to your man, Midget.
Because before you even know it,
you got a lucky stop.
The games is over.
Okay, so this is one of those ones where I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say whether or not it's good or not, but I don't know, that trailer doesn't really sell the movie a whole lot. I mean, basically the trailer is selling it as, watch these guys steal cars and how easy it is and how much they go over the edge to do it. I mean, it doesn't really have a very convincing storyline, at least from the trailer alone, but I mean, it's got some decent reviews to it. It's got a pretty good cast involved, including Donald Faison, Heavy D, Christine Baranski's also in here as well. Spike Lee produced it, and usually when Spike Lee puts his name on something at this point, it's not going to usually be a terrible movie. And actually, come to think of it, like, I'm trying to think, has Spike Lee ever put his name on something that has been absolutely terrible? He's made some bad movies, but nothing absolutely horrible, at least to my knowledge. But so I don't know, maybe this could be something interesting, but I don't know. That trailer I don't think really sold it all that well. I mean it's one of those ones where I think that the movie is much better than the trailer is letting on. Like some of the reviews I'm seeing is like, this movie is an expert on how cars are stolen, basically taking about 10 seconds, and it also is expert on how a smart and essentially prudent kid ends up inside of a lot of stolen cars and get into a lot of trouble. That was from the review that Roger Ebert did when I guess they reviewed this on Siskel and Ebert. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go too much into it because I haven't seen the movie. I can't really say too much about it in terms of the quality of it because I need to see the film. I will say that trailer didn't sell the movie all that much, but then again, maybe this is one of those ones where the trailer does the movie a huge disservice. So that's pretty much all I got on that one. Let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is The Cure.
He was told it wasn't safe.
Who's there? Some women saw that little AIDS boy down at Peterson's yesterday.
He was warned to stay away.
My grandmother says you're going to hell.
Well, my doctor's really smart. He says he has no idea what happens. If your grandmother knows, she must be a genius.
She's a clerk at Kmart.
But Eric took a chance and risked everything.
Jeez, you're a midget.
You just keep a safe distance.
What's a safe distance? 7 feet.
What he found was the best friend he ever had.
What's that awful smell? We accidentally stepped in your mother. Get him! Get out of the way!
I've never seen anyone look like this before. My mom sure doesn't.
These aren't moms, these are women. Just as soon as they find the cure, we're heading out to Baskin Robbins and ordering one of those monster sundaes.
It's a good plan.
What is it?
She's afraid that they might not find a cure in time.
Not measles, not chickenpox, AIDS. Come Monday morning, you're going to summer camp.
Now, staying together
Tomorrow morning, I'm out of here.
This makes you really worried.
means leaving everyone else behind.
You and I both know that the only thing that's going to make her happy is when we find a cure. I'll be the navigator and you be treasurer.
History is full of very sick people who suddenly, for no reason at all, get better. And when that happens, we call it a miracle.
Sometimes I get really scared.
Hold on to this while you sleep. And if you wake up and you're scared, you'll say, wait a minute, Eric must be close by.
Universal Pictures presents Jurassic Park's Joseph Mazzello and The Client's Brad Renfro in a story of two boys who made one summer last a lifetime. The Cure.
So you've got two of the kid stars from two of the biggest hits of the 90s, Jurassic Park with Joseph Mazzello and The Client with Brad Renfro, and an idea that I think could have made for an interesting movie, but the movie itself kind of comes off as a little too manipulative, like it's trying to be like an Oscar baitish type of movie. And also I kind of think this idea of doing a story about a kid with AIDS, I think by 1995, I think not a lot of people were really fully invested into the AIDS pandemic like they were. It's the AIDS epidemic, I should say, not the pandemic. The AIDS epidemic, which, compared to where they were at the start of the 90s, like where you had a bunch of shows and movies talking about AIDS and all that. By 1995, it wasn't really that big of an issue, even though it was still very much out there. And maybe the movie was a little bit too late maybe it was too past its prime for it to really come out. But as far as the movie itself goes, I've only seen like a little bit of it, but I mean, it doesn't look that bad of a movie. I just feel like it's kind of one of those movies that they tried to push for an Oscar, but it didn't really work out all that well. I will say the performances by Renfro and Mazzello from the stuff I've seen are pretty good. You can actually buy that they could be good friends throughout the course of this adventure, and there is kind of a fun concept there that you could easily be doing with it. But Yeah, other than that, though, I don't really see a whole lot there to say that this is something that I really need to see the full version of. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. I mean, it's one that could be interesting, but I don't know. It feels a little bit too manipulative, too Oscar baitish type of a film is what I'm trying to say here. But I mean, I don't know. It could go either way. I might check it out one day, but I'm not gonna rush out to try to see it. So that is The Cure. So let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Leonardo DiCaprio in The Basketball Diaries.
This is the life story of Jim Carroll, novelist, musician, and New York legend. Leonardo DiCaprio in the true story of the death of innocence and the birth of an artist. The Basketball Diaries, rated R.
You've got another one of those movies where I've heard about it, I've seen people talk about it, but I've just never gotten around to seeing it. So another one where I can't really say too much about it, but from what I can tell, this is one of Leonardo DiCaprio's early leading roles. I know he had been in some supporting roles before this, like specifically What's Eating Gilbert Grape, but this was to really show whether or not this kid could be a top leading actor. And for the most part, I definitely could see it. Like, you have him in here, you have Lane Bracco, you have Mark Wahlberg in here as well, Bruno Kirby, Juliette Lewis, Michael Imperioli, again, Michael Rappaport's in this, Ernie Hudson. It looks like it could be something interesting, although I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews on it. And it's one of those films that later on down the road, when we started getting into these high school shootings, specifically Columbine, and then what happened at Heath High, people tried to use this movie as well as Natural Born Killers as part of the reason why we had those shootings, and that ended up being complete BS. Like, if Jack Thompson, the guy who filed a $33 million lawsuit, thinking that this plot and the plot of Natural Born Killers caused this Heath High school shooting, and that case was later dismissed because obviously I don't want to say that that's part of what happened, but from the little bit I've seen, it's hard not to think that, honestly. But again, I'm not going to delve too much into that because, like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say whether or not that is the case. But I mean, it doesn't look like it's a bad movie. It just looks like a movie that will probably benefit mostly from the cast rather than the script, which doesn't look like it's that strong. Like, it's trying to send a message out there that they don't know what the real message needs to be. But again, I can't delve into too much because, like I said, I haven't seen it. So another one I'll definitely check out one day. But for right now, it's a movie that came out this weekend, so I acknowledge that it came out this weekend. So that said, on to the next movie, Burnt by the Sun.
From Sony Pictures Classics comes the Academy Award-winning and critically acclaimed masterpiece, Burnt by the Sun. Applauded by critics nationwide as 4 stars, superb, magical. There's no more heartbreakingly beautiful movie this year. Exploring the life of an aging national war hero, the love for his family, and above all, the love for his country. Burnt by the Sun is the extraordinary odyssey of a man caught between repression and triumph. It's a breathtakingly beautiful cinematic experience that will leave audiences pondering its vivid characters. Winner of the 1994 Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film and Grand Jury Prize winner at the Cannes Film Festival. Burnt by the Sun, now available on video cassette exclusively from Columbia TriStar Home Video.
Once again, one that I have not seen, so I can't really delve into this one, but this is a notable film because it won the grand prize of the Cannes Film Festival in '94, and then later the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film in '95, and it actually did spawn a sequel 16 years later, Burnt by the Sun 2, so it has a legacy to it, but like I said, I really do not know too much about this one, so another quick one here, can't really say anything about it, but it does look nice, though, visually, so anyway, let's get back to some movies that I have actually seen, and we'll start off with the first movie of the last 2 that we have, and that is Frank Whaley and Kevin Spacey in Swimming with Sharks.
So, Guy, let me ask you a question. Why do you want this?
All my favorite memories have been of movies.
Guy has just started working for the biggest producer in Hollywood.
I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you could start right away.
And he thinks he's in heaven.
You
Ow! Who do you work for?
have
If you were in my toilet bowl, I wouldn't bother flushing it.
no brain.
Too bad. He's gone to hell.
I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just trying to help.
The boss who owns him.
What are you doing? I was going to the bathroom. I need to go. Spark?
You're in my spot. Could you move? I slaved 3 miserable years to get that spot.
The producer who wants him.
Hey, how about lunch?
Buddy doesn't believe in lunch. Her car phone bills are more than your rent.
Fine, drinks it is. Here's my card. Call me when you're done tonight.
You're happy. I hate that. I wanted to talk to you about Dawn's project. Young, it's hot. This is genius. This is great work, Guy. I am not going to forget this.
Let me guess. Gave you that win-1 for us, you and me?
You and I.
The deal that could make him.
Get ready to meet the chairman of the board.
This is a great project, buddy. I'm not going to forget who brought it.
Or break him.
Nobody wins unless somebody loses.
This is show business.
I don't think this is working anymore. Maybe it's time we reconsider our relationship.
Punching below the belt is not only all right, it is rewarding.
I know things have been a little crazy at the office lately, but it's payback time.
Trimark Pictures presents Kevin Spacey, Frank Whaley, Swimming with Sharks.
8:30 is not the same as 8 o'clock. So the next time I ask for something to be delivered at 8, I'll get it there. Morning. What's going on?
So this was part of a very good year for Kevin Spacey in 1995 because this was the year that also had The Usual Suspects, and which he won an Academy Award for, and he was also in Seven. And then you have this movie, which is probably the lesser known of the 3 movies that I mentioned, but should definitely be up there with the other 2 because this is a pretty damn good movie. Like, anytime Kevin Spacey can play the asshole boss and just make you hate him so much, he's doing his job well because, man, he's terrific in this movie. Frank Whaley's also very good here, playing the new assistant. You also have Michelle Forbes, and you see Benicio del Toro in one of his early film roles. Just a really good movie. Very funny, very much a black comedy, some good thriller aspects, and it's just a real fun movie. You love seeing Frank Whaley's character getting revenge on this asshole by the end of the movie. It's just so amazing what this movie is able to do. Like, it's so brilliant. It's so funny. This director, George Huang, has actually done a lot with Robert Rodriguez. He's produced some of his movies that came out later after this. But it's a brilliant friggin' movie, man. I love this movie so much. A very underrated film. Definitely check it out if you can. Swimming with Sharks. Can't recommend it enough. So, on that note, let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is the documentary Crumb.
When I was about 5 or 6, I was sexually attracted to Bugs Bunny, and I cut out this Bugs Bunny off the cover of the comic book and carried it around with me.
I think you were more inhibited as a child than I was.
Girls are just utterly out of my reach. They won't even let me draw them. Yeah, all that changed after I got famous.
I'm wondering if there's any chance I can get an autograph from you.
I don't think so.
I mean, this is one I don't really need to say too much more about because everyone's already talked about this as one of the greatest documentaries ever made, and it definitely is one of those great documentaries, like directed by Terry Zwigoff, who would later go on to direct Bad Santa. He was the only one that will allow this guy, Robert Crumb, to actually film stuff with him with his consent. It's a very interesting movie on so many levels. Like, it's this idea is you're following this family around. It's a film that's very uncomfortable at times. The stuff that they get through it in this movie, it's just really well done stuff. It's a very different documentary than you would see from any other documentary that came out around this time period. And just like with another great documentary that was screwed over by the Academy Awards, Hoop Dreams, they didn't nominate this one because why would we change the way we do things? Well, I mean, well, this actually did cause a media fervor to actually tell them to revamp the documentary nomination process, and just like with Hoop Dreams, man, this is a movie that is about a family. You're following this family through these realistic situations. You get so invested in the situations that go on with them. You try to get a grasp of what this guy's whole life is and how he became this guy that he became prevalently known for. And it's just such a brilliantly deep, dark documentary. That's something that you can't really replicate as much as you think that you can easily do. And the fact that this movie didn't get the proper respect back then, just like with Hoop Dreams, it's a shame. It's one of the reasons why you cannot trust the Academy Awards even nowadays, because they always look at these movies, and then they pick the. It always seems like they acknowledge their existence, but at the same time they always give the winner to like the safest pick possible. That's specifically in the Best Picture category, which that's a whole different subject altogether that I could easily get into, but I won't do that because that we'd be taking way too much time on this. We're already spending a lot of time on this particular one, so yeah, it's a very good movie on so many levels. Bottom line, Crumb is an amazing film. It's a deep, disturbing, very well presented film. It's a very intelligent film, a very smart film, very nice film too. It's just such a great film that you got to see to really appreciate what a good documentary really can do. And this is one of the best documentaries you will ever see. I highly recommend checking out Crumb. You will not be disappointed by it.
Good morning. Are you prepared for Jehovah's return? Because if you're not, I have a pamphlet that... Well, fuck you. Damn!
Look, she bending over.
Hi, Miss Parker. Hi, boys.
Miss Parker just don't know. Come in here. Oh, man, I'll wait till you come out. What you talking about? You wait till I come out. I smelled your shit for 22 years. Now you can't smell mine for 5 minutes.
I'm gonna get you high today. Because it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got shit to do.
How you gonna sell, bud? And you smoking?
I don't know.
Lord have mercy.
Just give me 3.5 minutes. Maybe even 4.
Come here.
What's up, Big Pine? I mean, Big Wine?
If you ain't got my money or my bud, I'm killing you and him.
Break yourself, fool!
You done drag me into this?
And he said, we don't pay him by 10 o'clock. He gonna bust a cap in both our ass, nigga. We need to pay him, man. He's crazy, man. Let's stick together.
Now, Dana told me about that big snake situation.
Big worm.
Big worm, big hole, big... I don't give a damn! Hey, take it easy, Holmes.
I know what I'm doing, man.
It's Angel does, Holmes. I said a hit. The hit, the hit.
You need a job.
You need a wig. I'm gonna kill you and Smokey.
That's my dog.
What you gonna do today? I'm gonna get a fly girl, gonna get some spoons.
God damn! What you hooking me with that fat ass girl for? Talking about she look like Janet Jackson. Bitch got out of the car looking more like Freddie Jackson. Damn!
Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, Bernie Mac, Johnny Witherspoon, Tiny Zeus Lister, and Mia Long. Friday.
Oh, God damn! You got knocked the fuck out!
I said a hit. The hip hop, you don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity beat.
Directed by F. Gary Gray.
I mean, talk about Ice Cube's magnum opus. This is probably the best thing he's ever done as an actor. And I like Ice Cube as an actor. I think he's also a great musician, too. But this really is the best movie he's ever made. And really, it's hard to top what he's done before. And this is just such a brilliantly made film. I mean, in a way, it's kind of like the black equivalent of Clerks, because you're following these two characters over the course of a day, and they go through all these different situations, like all these different places they go to, all these different people they encounter. It feels very much like that, and you just love the chemistry that between Cube and Tucker as Craig and Smokey. They're just so fun to watch, and they just have a lot of great dialogue, a lot of great humor, just a lot of great everything in this movie. This is a great film that I just keep going back to every single time. I mean, it's just a brilliantly made film, and it's a movie that not only is very funny, but it also plays with your expectations, and it has some of my favorite scenes in movies. Like, one of my favorite scenes in movie history is in this movie. It's towards the end of the movie. There's this thing where Craig, Ice Cube's character, is going to go up against the bully of the movie, which is of course Debo, and he's got a gun, and he was talking, and they've been building this up until about starting at the want to say halfway through the movie, he has this gun, and his dad John Witherspoon, who's great in the film as well, gives him a speech about how about if he's a man with that gun, or if and Craig says, I'm a man without it. And so there's this point where you think that that Craig is going to shoot Debo, because Debo's talking shit to him, and then all of a sudden it cuts to Craig putting the gun up, and then you see this white girl, the screen goes white, like you think that, okay, he shot him, but then it goes back to flashbacks to that dialogue in the beginning of in that scene I was talking about, and all these different things that took place before then, and it makes you think it's actually what would have happened if he had actually done it, and then it cuts back to him Debo talking smack to Craig again, and he just fights him at the end of it. Like, I like that. I like that they actually played with your expectations. They make you think that it's going to be something completely different and something that we've seen done before, but it's not like that. And that's what I think is what makes this movie so special. It plays with your expectations. It doesn't give you what you think you're going to get. And I think that was actually what the point of the movie was when they were making the film. I think Ice Cube and the person that co-wrote this movie, DJ Pooh, said that they didn't like the portrayal of Hood in film because it was becoming more violent and menacing as these movies kept coming out. So they decided to make a movie that counteracts that by doing something that draws more on personal experiences while crafting the characters and plot points. And I guess maybe doing it in a lighter sense, because it definitely shows on screen. And like I said, the acting in here is great. Ice Cube and Chris Tucker are great together. You got a cast that also includes Neil Long, Tiny Lister, Regina King, Anna Maria Horsford, Bernie Mac. Of course, John Witherspoon is always going to be great if you put him in something really good, he'll usually deliver something great to the movie. It's just a really good film, man. I go back to this movie every single time. I get a lot of laughs out of it. It's just such a brilliant film. I love it so much. It's easily the best movie Ice Cube has ever made. And it's a great film. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen Friday, I highly recommend checking it out. You will not be disappointed by it. So, that's Friday. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is John Carpenter's second film of 1995. 2 films over the course of 2 months, and that is the remake of Village of the Damned.
At precisely 10 a.m., in a quiet seaside village, something happened. Something unexplainable. Something unbelievable.
There's a lot of pregnancies, much more than would normally be expected. All the pregnancies seem to date from the day of the blackout. Oh
no. Now, this town is about to discover that looks can kill.
There have been a few casualties. I should say accidents that might be related to contact with the children.
My daughter was involved. Who are they?
They have one mind that they share between them.
Father?
Let us pray.
You've been discussing us with Dr. Vern. What did she tell you? You're hiding something.
The police can't do anything to stop the children.
Get out while you can.
Something so much more powerful than we'll ever be. What are you gonna do? The only thing that we can do.
You can't stop us, you know. Don't try.
So like I said, this is the second film of the last 2 months that John Carpenter directed, which the other one was In the Mouth of Madness, which was a far superior movie than this film was easily. But this movie is mostly notable because it was the last publicly released film that Christopher Reeve starred in before he had his infamous horse accident that made him paralyzed for the rest of his life. That actually happened not but a few weeks after this movie came out. And as far as the movie itself goes, it's definitely not that great. I mean, the original version was adapted from the book, which came out in 1960. The movie, I should say. The movie came out in 1960. The book came out 3 years after that. Was a much better film. This movie just feels off. I mean, John Carpenter's doing the best he can in terms of direction, but the script overall just really isn't working very well. It's a film that just does not have a good script to work with. It has a great cast to work with, though. Christopher Reeve, like I said, Linda Kozlowski from Crocodile Dundee, Kirstie Alley, Michael Pare, Mark Hamill, Meredith Salinger. Just a really good cast here, but the script is just not inventive whatsoever. And I'm sorry, these kids are not that threatening. Like, that blonde hair, it works back in the 1960 film, but here, it's just hard to take this seriously whatsoever. It's just, it gets way too ridiculous for its own good. It's a film that has a lot of promise to it, but it just does not deliver on any of it whatsoever. It's a shame, too, because John Carpenter is doing the best he can with this, and you could definitely tell from the direction point. The writing point, however, it's a huge misfire on so many levels. It's no surprise why this one kind of came and went, so. But hey, at least he made one great film in '95 with In the Mouth of Madness, but, so that's Village of the Damned. Let's move on to the next movie we have, and that is Chuck Norris's Top Dog.
During the past 24 months, Lieutenant Wilder, 118 arrests, 116 convictions. Sergeant Reno, 118 arrests, 116 convictions. Wilder, 6 citations for bravery. Reno, 6 citations for bravery.
What is this all about?
Well, I'm just comparing your file to your partner's. It's amazing similarities here.
Hold on. What partner? Her?
No. Him. You could help.
Coming soon to theaters across America. Police work is going to the dogs. Chuck Norris. Top Dog.
No doubt about it. You boys are made for each other. You don't even look like a police dog.
It's canine. I mean, it's canine. It's kind of like Turner. I don't even want to say. Now, Turner Hooch was pretty much the same thing, too, but this is just Canine and Turner and Hooch, except replace Jim Belushi and Tom Hanks with Chuck Norris. And they say that this movie didn't do well because the timing of the movie. This actually came out 9 days after the infamous Oklahoma City bombing, and they said that because the movie was about terrorism and all that, that's why the movie didn't succeed at the box office. Well, the movie didn't succeed at the box office because we've seen this movie done over and over again. And yeah, Chuck Norris was a popular star with Walker, Texas Ranger, and this actually turned out to be his last film in theaters before he shifted straight to direct-to-video movies, but this movie would have failed regardless. I mean, this is a dull movie that's not really funny whatsoever. Chuck Norris is just trying way too hard in this. Like, the things that make Chuck Norris so memorable, like the stuff you see from the Walker clips that used to be on Conan O'Brien all the time, and even something as ridiculous as Sidekicks, those are things that are so bad they're funny at the same time. This is just something that's so bad that it's nothing. I mean, like I said, we've seen this done a whole lot better in stuff like Canine and Turner and Hooch, but this just doesn't work at all. It's a really lackluster movie that's not really that clever, not really that smart. It doesn't really show what we like about Chuck Norris, but it's just not a fun movie at all. It's a really dull movie, and it's just like this is the last thing that people saw on the big screen with Chuck Norris in it before he eventually came back with the cameo in The Expendables 2, and I think that's the last movie he ever did in theaters at that point. But this movie didn't fail because of the Oklahoma City bombing. It probably would have been an excuse, maybe, but no, this movie was going to fail regardless. This was not a good movie at all, and you could definitely see why right from the get-go. I mean, just terrible movie on so many levels, so. Anyway, that is Top Dog. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Destiny Turns on the Radio.
You've got a date with Destiny.
Guaranteed to bring you
Johnny Destiny.
You can call me Johnny.
He's a nut. He's a wildling. He's completely unpredictable.
Experience his power.
You looking for this?
Witness his magic.
I'm ready for him.
And meet the man who will blow you out of the water.
Surf's up.
Destiny Turns on the Radio.
It's a town of limitless possibilities.
Rated R. Starts Friday, April 28th at theaters everywhere.
So here's one of those movies I never really heard about until I saw it on like a compilation of like movie trailer TV spots back from the year 1995, and For my first glance at it, I thought this was a spin-off of the movie of the character that Quentin Tarantino played in Pulp Fiction. I mean, his name. I mean, he's literally all over that commercial, as you see. But no, this is something completely different, and it's definitely nothing that he did with the script or the direction, because you could probably tell from that trailer that this did not leave a huge lasting impact. I couldn't even find a trailer for that, honestly, when I looked on there for the first time, and quite frankly, this movie, that trailer, that commercial I saw did not make me want to see this movie, despite all the people that they have in here. I mean, Dylan McDermott, Nancy Travis, James Lagos, James Belushi, David Cross, Bobcat Goldthwait, Tarantino. There's nothing about this that looks interesting whatsoever. It just feels like a movie that just has way too much going on. It doesn't really have a good idea of what the point is that it's going to be at the end of it. And it just doesn't look like a good movie. I haven't seen it, so I can't really delve into it too much more, but I have no real interest to see it after watching that trailer. But it came out that weekend. It was the 4th highest grossing of the new releases, so it's right in the middle, so that should tell you something. But actually, I think we can run through these next couple really quick, because I don't think I've seen any one of these movies. So that was Destiny Turns on the Radio. Let's move on to that next movie that we have here, and that is A Pyromaniac's Love Story.
You haven't heard my love story. It's the most tragic love story ever told.
Yeah.
Love is a fire. Love turned me into a pyromaniac.
You started the fire because you're in love with a girl?
Yes, and that's original.
And it's about to spread out of control.
Yeah, I started the fire.
You didn't start the fire.
I did. It was my fire.
You!
I want to turn myself in.
She turned herself in because she loves me. She loves me. She loves me.
You did not start the fire.
Oh, yes, I did. This is becoming the most popular fire in history.
Hollywood Pictures presents
This is best for everyone. You're in the middle of a love story here. This is my love story. This is your love story?
a story about crimes of passion.
You never told me you were gonna make somebody fall in love with you. Stop saying that.
Searing confessions.
He is the man I love. What's your name?
And burning desires.
I'm in love with you.
You're not in love with me.
You're in love with Stephanie, remember?
William Baldwin.
But with a kiss, you broke my face.
John Leguizamo.
Please don't be in love with me anymore. You're ruining my life.
Sadie Frost.
Every man I know has lost his mind.
And Erica Aliniak.
That's where you're from. A good fire makes for a love story. Well, I have standards. And to win my love, he must at least blow something up.
A pyromaniac's love story.
I belong in a maximum security prison for men!
Kind of like with the last movie, this feels like something that... This one feels more like a watered-down Woody Allen movie. Like, this was a script that Woody Allen would have done, and probably would have made it a whole lot better, but no, somebody watched Woody Allen movies and said, I could do this easily, and turns out he really can't, because nothing about that trailer was interesting whatsoever. It's one of those trailers where everybody just has to keep talking to keep you invested in what's going on. I feel like that's kind of what the movie is. Like, people have to just say stuff, and say something that's funny, or say something that's interesting to keep you invested in what's going on, and just like the last movie, that trailer did not do that any favors. I don't think anybody in this movie really was happy with what they were doing. I don't think they were given anything funny to do. I don't think anything interesting happens in this movie. Like I said, it feels like a watered-down version of a Woody Allen movie. And like I said, Woody Allen probably could have made this better, but it definitely doesn't feel like anything that could be very interesting or funny. I hadn't even heard about it until this point, so that should probably tell you something about it. So, yeah, definitely does not look like something I'm interested in. So, that's A Pyromaniac's Love Story. Let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Steven Soderbergh's The Underneath with Peter Gallagher.
So how long are you going to stay, Michael?
I don't know. Maybe a little while. See some friends.
I hear she's dating a small-time hood that bought the Ember, if you're interested.
How is it you can show your face without getting hurt?
Nobody's ex just shows up. He wants something.
He treat you okay?
Not as well as guys without money.
You better hurry up and start working so I can retire.
I might get that job.
When can you start?
That's it?
That's it. Welcome aboard.
What do you think would happen if we went away for the weekend?
What about Tommy?
He treats me bad. Look at my arms.
What the hell is this?
It was my idea to come here.
That's not helping her!
So what's the total for today?
About $1.3 million.
I wanted to make you a business proposition. I work with armored cars. Why come to me?
You're the only crook I know.
I want you to describe what happened.
Everybody's very proud of you.
You think you got everybody fooled?
It's a two-way split. I'd rather eat airline food.
You're the inside man. We both know it. Who are you?
I don't know who you want me to be.
I want somebody I know.
Well, I want somebody I know.
What you got in there? Spare pair of shoes.
What's that?
How did it happen? Did they come to you? Trap you into it? Did Tommy send you?
Buddy, I don't know who you're talking about.
Was it her?
Are you sure we should go through with this?
We have to follow her through. You think Tommy Dundee is going to let you get away with that?
I think you did the right thing when you left. But you shouldn't have come back.
Second movie in 2 weeks where Peter Gallagher spends time in the movie in a hospital bed. Probably not for a good reason, but yeah, this movie didn't look interesting either. And Steven Soderbergh is usually a terrific director. I feel like this was kind of a little bit of a downward trend for him, because I'm looking at his filmography up to this point. Between King of the Hill and Out of Sight, there's a couple of movies there that I don't think I've ever heard of. I don't think they're not really that good. And I haven't seen this movie, but I do not think that this movie got any good favors either. I mean, it doesn't look like it's a bad movie per se. It just feels like a movie that it just doesn't know what exactly it wants to do. Like, it doesn't feel like it fits into the style of what we expect to see from Steven Soderbergh as a filmmaker, because he can usually tackle most genres and do a pretty good job with it. We see it later on in his career, but I don't know. This movie feels like he's just trying to make a mainstream movie. This is a remake of a 1949 original movie of the same name, and yeah, I just don't think it's anything worth watching. Like, I never even knew about it until I looked at the trailer for this, and even that trailer, I saw it, and I was just kind of like, nothing about this looks interesting whatsoever. So, I mean, that's just my thinking on it. So yeah, that's the underneath. So, on to the next movie we have here, and that is Picture Bride.
Hey, you! Number 3939! What's the matter, you, huh? Number 3939, what's the matter, you, huh?
I'm very sorry.
Hey, boss, this one from city, not from girl. But the good head.
Good for what? Good for nothing. Good head no work hard.
Can speak little English already.
I'm very happy to see you.
15 rows we gotta finish today. Enough all this talk.
Boss, we gotta move cake.
You blow on it, huh? You stop work. Never mind, baby. Baby, okay.
Another movie I really do not know a whole lot about. So, the plot of it is you're following this woman who arrives in Hawaii as a picture bride at the turn of the century for a man she has never met before. The story is based on the historic practice due to U.S. anti-miscegenation laws. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Miscegenation. Miscegenation. I think it's miscegenation. I don't know if I'm saying that wrong. I'm just reading what it says off of here. Due to these laws of Japanese immigrant laborers in the United States using long-distance matchmakers to find in their homelands to find wives. So that's literally everything I know about this movie. I've never even heard of this movie. I don't know anything about it. Like I said, as you can probably tell, I haven't seen it, so I can't really talk about it. But unfortunately, I couldn't even find a really good trailer for it. All I could find was just the movie itself. It's one of those ones where there's probably a trailer out there, but I'm just not finding it easily, so I can't really judge it from that one clip there. I mean, it's just a little clip from the movie, and I don't know. Like, I really don't have anything more to add to this one. I wish I could add something to it, but I've got nothing, so let's move on to the next movie, and that is a Martin Scorsese production, Search and Destroy.
I want to buy the rights to this book, and I want to do something with it. A movie. That's funny.
You're frightened of dying, is that it?
No.
You owe the state of Florida $147,956.
Are you threatening me? Is that a threat?
Are you going to ask him for money?
Okay, Lauren, it just sounds like I'm asking.
What about your condo? We could float it. Use an offshore bank. Who knows?
What if it's in my wife's name?
That's all right.
We're not doing any more of this, okay? I thought you were trying celibacy.
I am.
We'll try harder.
You lie a lot.
Does that bother you?
It might. I lie. I don't do it right, though. I always lie at the end when I'm scared and I don't get anything.
Hello? I'm Roger. Perhaps I can help you.
It's a personal matter.
Well, getting personal is what we're all about here. New York! Never been to Shea Stadium?
Batman. Everybody with the bats. 50,000 Batwheels and sociopaths. Security's very tight. I have a private booth in the circle. This is through GE.
What are you? Face facts. You're a guy in a suit. Then wants to sit at the grown-up table talking movie deals. Go. Get money.
He wants the cash. All the cash up front, or he's not going to give me the rights.
I have a thought. Thought, Ron. Yes. Who's with the money? These are my clients. Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is funny, huh? What's it look like? There's got to be a way out of this. Because my brain is gone, and I can't even think anymore. Everything up to this moment is the past. It's not your adventure, but it's definitely your life.
Let me have the gun.
The gun?
Yeah. It's my turn. Let me have it.
Can't have an adventure without a gun.
This isn't an adventure, Kim. This is business.
So this is a movie that's based off of a stage play, which actually Griffin Dunn, who stars in the same role here, played on the stage production. The premise is that this guy is a complete failure. He runs a successful business into debt. His marriage is falling apart. He owes the IRS $147,000 in back taxes. He doesn't have not much going for him, but he has read Daniel Strong, a best-selling self-help novel from the popular TV guru played by Dennis Hopper. Now he wants to turn that into a motion picture. To do that, Martin needs the rights and the revenue. Given his grating personality and terrible track record, it won't be easy to get hold of either. He sets out to meet this doctor, but ends up sleeping with his screenwriter assistant Maria, played by Elena Douglas, who's destined and determined to make a movie. They meet in New York. They get involved with this wealthy businessman, played by Christopher Walken, with his quirky tendencies and a repressed desire to live dangerously. If they aren't careful, this daring duo may not come out of this deal alive. And again, just reading it off of there because I haven't seen the movie, but unlike that, this definitely shows some promise to it, mostly because it looks like Christopher Walken doing whatever Christopher Walken wants to do. Just the way he's holding that gun up every time he says, "Do you have a gun on you?" Like, that's kind of funny, and maybe this could be something that's kind of interesting. You see the big names in the cast: Griffin Dunn, Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken, John Turturro, Ethan Hawke, Rosanna Arquette, Robert Knepper, Elena Douglas, Martin Scorsese. Dan Hedaya is also in this movie. So there is definitely something there to this movie from that trailer alone, and maybe that could lead to something. But I haven't seen it, so I can't really say too much more about it. So let's move on to this last movie, and that is the documentary Moving the Mountain. Another documentary directed by Michael Apted. This is basically looking back to the Tiananmen Square protest of 1989. You're following several people who were part of that, and though one of the guys who wrote the memoir based off of this, Li Lu, is a central figure in the film, the movie sets out to provide a comprehensive understanding of the events leading up to and following the Tiananmen Square protests. They have five of the student leaders who were part of that, several supporters of the movement, and a prominent descendant who led the Democracy Wall movement of 1978. Interviews with Wang Dan, number one of the government's most wanted list, and Wei Jingsheng are conducted in secret in Beijing. The film includes a set of archival footage from the Cultural Revolution, the Tiananmen Incident in 1976, the death of Mao Zedong in 1976, the Democracy Wall movement of 78, and the protest of 89. The footage was supplemented by dramatic recreations of key childhood events in the lives of Li Lu, from filmed in Taiwan, and of the escape routes of several leaders filmed in Hong Kong. So that's pretty much the gist of what this movie is. And like I said, I don't know anything about it, but it's a documentary about the events that led up to those protests in '89. That has that famous image of the guy standing in front of the tank, getting ready to come down the field, down the road, and that's like I said, that's pretty much all I know about this movie, and it could be interesting. Like that's an interesting story that you can definitely learn a lot about. So maybe this might be something that could be worth watching. Michael Apted usually does make some pretty good movies, whether they're scripted movies or documentaries, so this could definitely be something. But that's my first time ever hearing about this, so that's pretty much all I got for you on this one. It's Moving the Mountain.